Sarah, this is John in Bozeman. As an MMJ, what obstacles or do you have to overcome to keep your stories visually interesting, and how do you do that?
I think that's a great question, because I think as an MMJ, not only are you having to worry about your visual elements, but you're having to worry about reporting as well and setting up your camera and asking the right questions. So for me, you know, I like to get there and shoot I don't know, it depends on the story, but I shoot as much B-roll, you know, as I can. I just try to get as many different angles as I can. And then I usually will just set up my camera and do the interview, and a lot of times before I go out on my story, I'll think about the questions that I want to ask. So that way, when I'm preoccupied worrying about the settings on my camera, I don't have to really worry about what I'm looking for and what questions I need to ask. Does that make sense?
Well, I was talking more about your B-roll and some of the other visual elements in the story. How do you go about getting that, and do you find it harder to do working solo?
And stand-ups.
And stand-ups. Stand-ups is an issue. No, I have a camera where I can actually flip the viewfinder around. Do you guys have those?
Yep.
And so a lot of times I'll just set up my camera. I'll flip the viewfinder around. I'll do a stand-up. Sometimes I'll walk into the shot, so that way it gives it a little bit of a different element. But as far as B-roll, I do find it harder as an MMJ when I'm out on a scene and I'm by myself and there are other reporters that have photographers. It gets pretty, overwhelming at times. But I think for me, I was trained to do this in college, and so when I got here and had to do it, it wasn't a big transition or a big deal. I didn't have to go from reporting to being an MMJ. So I just kind of knew that was expected of me.